By Jonathan Feigen, Houston Chronicle. Three-pointers takeaways from the Rockets' 10,697 loss to the Spurs. The Rockets probably cannot complain too much about a 41 preseason, but it did not provide much momentum for the season opener. Perhaps that is not possible in the preseason when the regular season opens against the Warriors on the night they receive their championship rings. But the Rockets' defense struggled against the Spurs. They have seen Chris Paul on the floor only briefly in the final week. James Harden has misfired from deep through most of the preseason. In a game that could be as notable for who did not play, Tony Parker and Kawhi Leonard for the Spurs and Chris Paul and Nene for the Rockets, the Spurs looked the same as always, while the Rockets' absences were conspicuous. The Rockets knew nothing in the preseason should be taken too seriously, just as it should not be when teams win meaningless games. But this is not how they wanted to head into the games that count. 1. The Spurs defend well, but when the Rockets score only 97 points in a game, something is wrong. Mostly, they could not make their threes in the second half. They generally don't worry about their offense, particularly if they misfire in a preseason game. But it did remind of how dependent they are on what they do best, and most often the Rockets made just 4 of 29 three-pointers in the second half. Harden made just 5 of 17 shots, including just 1 of 8 three-pointers. He was 12 of 50 from deep in the preseason. Even Eric Gordon led the Rockets with 27 points, on 9 of 18 shooting, went 2 of 10 in the second half. There had been some good signs throughout the preseason, from the outstanding play of Luke Mbah and Trevor Ariza to the continued signs of growth of Clint Capella. But the Rockets' offense did not seem ready for the Warriors, and that appeared to be about more than missing threes in one preseason game. 2. Though the Rockets expect Chris Paul to be back in time for the season opener on Tuesday, it might be telling that Mike D'Antoni has pointed out that the priority is to have him his best at the end of the season, rather than the beginning. A bruised knee is not the concern. The time lost this week, first to a bruised shoulder and then with the knee, might have slowed his adjustment to playing with the Rockets. He never seemed comfortable in Memphis, the one game he did play this week, spending much of it off the ball and struggling to find a rhythm in his catch-and-shoot opportunities or when he did have opportunities to create. Paul is accustomed to having the ball in his hands at all times and to dictate the offense around him. His passing skills remain, but he often has to use them differently and at different times. The plan is that he will still have 24 minutes per game running the point, and that should work. If he gets to do that game after game as he could not in the preseason, he will almost certainly look like Chris Paul again, and likely can use that to be effective in other ways in the other 12 minutes. But he has not had a chance to get in a groove yet. Harden has not shot threes well next to him. The question has not been about meshing the star guards, but getting them ready and up to speed. 3. Kevin McHale said on Friday that he was not going to change his opinion about James Harden because Harden called him a name. That was, of course, true. But no one thought McHale would say, "He called me a clown, so I guess I was wrong when I said he lacked leadership skills." That was not Harden's goal. Harden's point went unanswered when McHale doubled down on his original criticism. Harden's complaint was that McHale did not express that opinion when he was Harden's coach, so he should not now. McHale is now paid to give his opinions, taking away the no-comment option. But the point McHale missed should have been made most obvious by his Rockets' tenure. A lot can change in a short time in the NBA. Harden's point about his leadership skills has been that he works on them the way he does his game and that they have improved. A lot has happened since McHale was around. McHale might doubt that improvement, but he never addressed it at all, as if time stopped nearly 2 years ago, a long time in NBA years. Harden's leadership style might not be McHale's preference, or as he correctly points out, the same as Chris Paul's. That doesn't mean it is non-existent. In the Rockets locker room, saying Harden is no leader sounds like saying he is no point guard. It is an argument that comes off at best as out of date. He is probably a better point guard than he is a leader, but he has worked to improve it both. Had someone else missed that, Harden probably would have ignored the criticism. He did not like hearing it from McHale, who had no trouble on Friday limiting his impressions to what he saw when things went wrong, rather than consider anything that went right since.